voice, but I liked her, and I liked her acting on top of her singing, and even her Wagner, you don't hear that much, but she is amazing in that stuff. On top of all the bel canto stuff too, where she does all the, where she's perfectly precise with that too. I also like Joan Sutherland.
Yes, I know. I was thinking about small voices for colorature, but she has a big voice.
Huge voice.
And yet she did all this.
Yeah, perfectly in tune.
All that.
Perfect. Her intonation is probably one of the cleanest of singers you can hear.
Really?
I think. I mean, I also think that Pavarotti, for the most part, had perfect intonation. He had perfect pitch.
Did he?
In fact, I thought Joan Sutherland had perfect pitch too.
Well,
anyways,
maybe.
I think that there are two examples of singers that young singers should listen to get their ears trained to see that you really can sing perfectly into. I mean, Joan Sutherland, it doesn't matter if she's singing high notes or these low notes. I remember she's doing this one K505 Mozart Kio mi scordidite. It's a concert aria, and it's got that piano with it in voice, and there's this one part where it goes down to a low A, well, depending on the key they use. But she sits on these low notes, and they're perfectly in tune. I mean, she thinks that she can't sing low, but when you hear it, it's pretty amazing. I mean, never mind all the high stuff. I remember when she was doing Abduction of Seraglio, and she's singing that one aria where she holds a high C for like 8 bars or something like that. And it's just like, oh. I mean, she's just perfect. So those are a few.
Good example.
But I also like some modern people. Like, I like Audra McDonald.
Yes.
I mean, she's not a classical singer, although she studied voice at Juilliard and stuff. But I like her because she's musical.
She's warm. I
mean,
her voice is warm, and her personality is warm. I
mean, we saw her at Kennedy Center.
Yes.
With Barbara Cook.
Yes.
Who was another one. Although I don't always like how Barbara Cook sings some of her high notes because they get sort of... I understand why she does it because I do it too. It's a technical thing. You get a little more nasally to get into the passaggio for her high notes, but I think it gets a little too nasal at times. However, I think Barbara Cook is phenomenal with her communication and how she sings a phrase. And she talks about that if you hear about things. She talks about how, every word, like you're always saying, every note and every word needs to mean something. And obviously it does with her, and you can't miss the thing with her. Just like how I like Rosemary Clooney.
Yes.
She's one of my favorites too, because she could sing anything and make it mean something. She didn't have the greatest voice, although when she was younger.
Well, it's like Frank Sinatra. Wow. He was fantastic.
Or Ella Fitzgerald.
Yes.
I mean, she
that's why these people are
one
famous, because
obviously.
they're just great. Really,
and what's interesting about Frank Sinatra is you don't realize the range of singing that he does, but it still sounds totally great. I mean, that's the same as true of classical singers. But so you train so that your voice is even all throughout the range.
Yes.
But with Frank Sinatra, you don't always think about the fact that he's singing low or he's singing high. If you look at the keys that he sang, if you were to sit down at a piano and listen to his music and see where he's singing, it's kind of amazing that he can sing so well. But, I mean, he
just had that.
And I remember voice. Daddy played some tracks with him. He told me this.
Yes.
He was recording some stuff with him. And he was really impressed with Frank Sinatra because he was so precise in what he wanted every instrument to sound like and the phrasing for all of it. And he would sit there and talk to Daddy and the other people how he wanted them to play everything.
Is that right? So he was a really good musician then.
He was.
It wasn't just natural that he got up and sang. He really knew what he was doing.
No, I think he
had
sat
a phenomenal
and studied.
ear, evidently.
Yeah,
too.
I'm sure he did, and I'm sure he sat and studied his music and decided what he was going to do and stuff. I mean, I think that all the good musicians sit and do that, and they map out exactly how they want to do a phrase. I'm going to bring an actress into this because, I like Erica Slezak.
Yes.
I read an interview once where she went to the London Royal College of Royal Academy of whatever Dramatic RADA, Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts in London. Okay, so she's classically trained in the British thing, but even though she works on a soap opera, I read an interview once that how she works her scripts is has to map out how she does everything so that she's sure that she has her climax point in the script and leads to that, and how she wants to build her phrases and stuff to get this energy to get to that one point, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, maybe a lot of actors do that. I don't really know because I haven't studied that much acting.
They should, but I don't know.
But it was just interesting.
Kevin Kline we saw him in.
Kevin Kline, fine, but he is a real actor. I mean, he's not like these Hollywood types that just, they're famous because they're thin and they're pretty. Mm-hmm. I mean,
he's fantastic.
But he can do a stage and he can do TV or he can do movies. That's the difference. If you have that technique like Erica Slezak does, you can do all that too. Because her base was stage. Even though she ended up on TV and stuff. Right. But it's all related to the same thing because Frank Sinatra was doing that with his music. You know, Ella Fitzgerald was doing that with hers. And I know that classical singers do that with theirs too.
Right. Or any soloist must.
Yeah.
Would have to.
I mean, but
otherwise it's boring.
So, I mean, there's a few favorites for singing. It always leads to something else. I mean, because it's all sort of related.
They are, the arts.
But at the same token, it's you like the ones that are good, who have learned how to use their techniques so that their craft is very well crafted. And it obviously shows because the creme de the creme sometimes does actually rise to the top. But you have to be lucky too.
Right, yes.
Because there are a lot of great singers who never did anything.
That's in life. I mean, in anything.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, so luck does, you can work as hard as you can. You can be a great singer, but you're not necessarily going to be famous. That's all I'm saying.
Right, okay.
Because there are a lot of great opera singers that are not famous, but they could or should have been.
I know. Life is rough. Life is
life's
not fair.
That's right.
That's for
You have to be lucky.
Now let's move on to some instrumentals.
Yeah, that's fine. We got a few good singers.
Yes. Well, of course, I like Joshua Bell, and I think it's because
you didn't always like Joshua Bell.
Well, maybe it's because he's matured.
Okay, fine.
I didn't know him in the beginning.
Maybe it's because he played in the Metro in D.C. and no one knew about him.
That was before that.
Yeah.
But he's
Although,
a developed.
Here's another one. I got to bring this up though.
Right.
You never liked Anne-Sophie von Otter.
I know, but as she got better or matured or something, that brought more of the musicality out and the fullness of the sound and the voice and the style, style.
Yeah.
I think that has something to do with it.
I do find her interesting. Now, I mean, we saw her in some concerts earlier. I mean, she had a pretty voice and all that, but yeah, she's more in depth. Just like we were talking about Jose Van Dam, how we saw that concert. He just stood there and he was amazing. He's another favorite.
Yes.
So maturity, you think, makes a difference.
It does. There's no doubt about that. And I think the reason I like Joshua Bell is because he's not just a technician. He almost harks back to the older style of violin playing that Misha Elman and Chrysler and these people, where they got a little rubato or fullness here and there or something, a little sliding or something, that a lot of the current violinists don't do any of that. They just get out there.
Playing more, how you were saying that to me, you need to play more with the music.
Yes, that's it. And he does that so much, and he's doing that enough that it's just good.
But doesn't it also help, how he's done like Gershwin recordings?
Oh, I'm sure it has. Yeah, he does. He's done all the little Chrysler pieces and all that. But it also kind of goes back to his teacher, again, was of that school where my teacher was, from the Russian school.
All right.
And a lot of these newer violinists aren't always, they're technically great, but they're almost a little cold. Even like Midori or somebody, I mean, they're kind of cold, I think. Whereas he's not. He's more.
Well, okay, because you also didn't always like Yo-Yo Ma, but you like Yo-Yo Ma.
Well, yeah, but when did I not like him? I don't remember
long time
that.
ago.
Okay, maybe
I remember you're saying, he's not like Leonard Rose or I don't remember.
Okay.
He's not like Pablo Casals.
No,
Didn't you play with him when you were in Miami? Pablo Casals?
No, that's Villalobos. No, I wasn't.
All right.
It was